So Carolyn's son is pushing it. So I guess I'll explain that. Of course, this is a vlog, and with any vlog, you gotta do vloggy things. So, but everything I got to say here today is wrapped around that point. So just bear with me, and we'll get through it. I'm told a lot that they don't understand how they could live their dreams. And they've always got a reason why something is interfering with them living their dream. They got a disability, or somebody is hurting them, somebody's taking... I used to get that one a lot, especially from this one lady. I don't know what happened to her, but she used to always tell me that I had an unfair advantage in life that makes it easier for me to live off grid than it is for her. And so they're making excuses as to why they can't do something. And that's all it is, it's an excuse. Because I can find a million different ways in which they could have accomplished what they wanted to accomplish. But whatever it is that got in their way, they just couldn't give it up. I remember when I was a kid, I used to work in Mom and Dad's bakery. I was anywhere from 6 years old to 10 years old. And I would go in there on the weekends, and I thought I was making donuts, but I wasn't actually making donuts. I would glaze the donuts, and then during the day, that was with Dad, and then during the day, I would do dishes and mop and things. And I was making some money, and had this old antique cash register. It was very old. Don't know where I got it from. It was very old and very heavy. And I would always put my money that I earned at the bakery into that cash register. I remember one time I had $100. Now, this was back in the 70s, and I thought I was big time. And I did not like spending money. It was more fun collecting it. It was like a collection. Look at this. And I got away from that as I got older. Spending money became easier than saving money. And so when I met my last wife, not Carolyn, but my last wife, I don't know what it was, but we just spent a lot of money, and it seemed like on a lot of things we didn't need. I remember we started a business, her and I did. It was a consulting firm. Work out of your home, and then I would have to drive just endless hours all the time. But this was in the beginning, and we got a contract, and it was a big number. It was $80,000. I'll tell you how much it was. Usually I try not to tell you how much I make, but that was a big contract, and it was huge. And instead of being smart with it, we spent it. Going out to Red Lobster once or twice a week, and bought a big TV and a big fancy bed, big fancy TV, big surround sound. And where did the money go? So by the next year, we were getting so poor that we ended up moving in her mom's house. Her mom was struggling with paying the utilities, so we were paying the utilities while we got back on our feet. Although we made a lot of money, we didn't get in a bad situation as we did that one time, but we never really got ahead. And by the time my wife left me, 14 years later, I was $50,000 in debt. When she left, I had $50,000 that I had to pay off. I was paying child support. I had to give my daughter a car. So I went out and bought a new truck, gave her the car. And I'll tell you, one of the easiest things I ever did in my life, it was just absolutely easy, was getting debt free. I hear so many people in the comment section that says, I can't do what you're doing. I don't make enough money to get debt free. Neither was I. I was broke. And Carolyn just showed me how to stop spending money. We searched and searched and searched, and we put out the word that we were searching for a low rent place to live. Now get this, one of our co-workers came in with a newspaper and said, I circled this. I don't know if it's worth it or not. And it was $350 for 8 acres and a house. Now, don't get me wrong. The reason he was renting it for such a low cost was he just wanted to keep it filled. He wanted someone to pay the taxes, cut the grass, just maintain it, so it wasn't just sitting there getting vandalized or what. And you can find things like that. I mean, I find them all the time still yet. Not $350, but very cheap. You just got to look. Oh, you can't find it in my area. Exactly. You got the word can't, and you're never going to find it. No, you may not find it in your area. Move. If you want to achieve something, get in a better position. And people just can't seem to get in that mindset. Well, people just can't get in the mindset of saving money. People can't get in the mindset of saving. Just like when we had that $80,000, we spent it. I meet Carolyn, and the easiest thing I ever did was get debt free. And it has been easy to stay debt free. To the point where now I don't even have to work that hard. I hear this all the time, I'm jealous you don't have to work that hard. It's because I used my brains and got debt free. I don't have to work that hard. I make YouTube videos. Now, people will say that's not working hard, and I guess it's not. I'm not like killing myself. I mean, I do maintain this property, but I get what you're saying. It's easy work. YouTube is actually pretty difficult. You got to come up with a video idea every day, and I know that's not hard, but it is. Trying to keep it fresh, trying to keep a relevant topic, and sometimes I don't succeed at it. Dealing with the trolls, dealing with YouTube. YouTube's always changing the rules, trying to make money, trying not to get demonetized, trying to understand what YouTube wants so I don't get in trouble with YouTube. But I get up every day at 5 a.m. And here lately I've had to stay up late for reasons, later than I like to. I like going to bed about 8:30, 9 o'clock, and then getting up at 5. But I've been staying up quite a bit later, and I still get up at 5. It's because that's a responsible thing to do. It seems to me that people have lost the sense of responsibility. That I don't know what they think. I just don't even understand it, how they can make an agreement. This is a perfect example. They make an agreement with someone. They shake someone's hand. Hi, I would like to get a job from you, and I'll come in every day and I'll work however many hours you tell me I'm supposed to work, and you pay me whatever you say you're going to pay me. You shake his hand, and all of a sudden he's the bad guy. The guy who just gave you a job is the bad guy. Oh, he's a terrible employer. I can't stand working there. He works us too hard. He doesn't give us breaks. I like to smoke a cigarette every hour, and he won't let me do it. He expects me to come in on time. He's going to fire me if I don't show up on time, and I'm so tired, I need to get a nap. And so you made an agreement, and now you've done everything you can to break that agreement. You choose to upset him, make him aggravated. He wants to fire you. You want to quit. Then quit. Just quit. Oh, I need a job. Well, then do the job he gave you, or quit and get in one that you will do. Don't make him suffer with your attitude and your tardiness. And maybe he'll call in today, maybe he won't. I don't know. Is he going to show up? Who knows? And so you leave the guy guessing, but you made a promise. You made a promise you were going to do something, and you didn't do it. And then you say, well, I can't live my dream because I don't have a job. There's always an excuse, and it's always someone else's fault. I, from a very young age, try very hard, and it's just one of those things. I mean, I think, I'm not trying to brag, but I feel like I have extra values that most people don't have, and I'm called a prude all the time. You go to bed at 8:30? Oh, what are you don't enjoy life? Yeah, I think I do. Look where I'm sitting. Man, isn't this beautiful? This is pure enjoyment. The difference between me and someone who wants this and to be able to stay up late is I recognize that in order to have this, I can't stay up late. I can have one or the other. I can do one thing or the other. And I really want this, so I don't do the other. I don't drink, I don't smoke, I go to work, make my YouTube videos. When I was working, I was always there 30 minutes early. Hey boss, you need me? At my last job, I was salary, and I worked 7 days a week. Oh, well, you're salary, you're supposed to work 7 days a week. Yeah, I guess so, but I'm telling you, it was killer. And not many people would have done it. And that's why I have this. And that's why people who make excuses they can't be debt-free aren't debt-free. I remember in the Navy, I was always afraid of getting in trouble. I've always been afraid of getting in trouble. I don't know. I was never tardy in school. I was always showed up. But in the Navy, I didn't have a car. So I lived 5 miles away from the base. I was just married to my high school sweetheart, my first wife. We lived in a little apartment. We went up there with nothing but a credit card and 3 suitcases each. Stayed in a hotel room until we found an apartment. Got into an apartment. We slept on the floor for the longest time. We went into furniture. And finally, the landlord said, hey, you need some furniture? And he charged us a little extra rent, gave us some furniture until we could get our own stuff. And by the time we left, we had to call a moving company to get us out of there. I mean, we collected a lot of stuff. we didn't have a car initially. And so I relied on a taxi. Now, you think you would be able to rely on a taxi. You really would. You call them up, and they tell you, yeah, we'll be there in 15 minutes or whatever it is. And I call them up every morning, same time. They knew who I was. Well, one day he showed up really, really, really late. I was so panicked and so mad. I was so mad that I took an aspirin bottle, one of these little Tylenol bottles, and I threw it across the room and put a dent in the wall. I had to fix that dent. Yeah, I guess I had a little temper back then, but boy, I was so scared. I just knew I was going to get in trouble. Fortunately, I was working by myself in the paint shop. All I'd do is mix paint all day. On the boat would come in, want me to mix their paint, I'd mix some paint and give them to them, and that was the job. And so I got there, and I didn't have to check in with anybody. I just went to my duty station and it was work. Nobody noticed. There was one person a few days later said, I came up to get paint the other day. I was in the paint shop and you weren't here. Really? Well, that's strange. Yeah, I think you must have been on the boat. Oh my goodness. He made an excuse for me. I don't think he realized I was absent. I think he actually thought I must have been on the boat talking to my superiors or something. So he didn't even question it. I never made that mistake again. Never in my life did I ever show up to work late again. As a matter of fact, I decided that weekend that I was going to go get a car. No matter what it took, I was going to get a car. Now, I lived in Bremerton, Washington, Silverdale, Washington. There was a car lot in Gig Harbor, Washington. They had a 1960-something Chevy Bel Air. It was blue, been repainted. This was in the 90s, so I mean, it was a significantly old car. And I don't know what they wanted for it, $1,200. And he gave me a loan for this car, that car dealer did. It was a piece of junk, but it started every day and got me to work every day. He promised me it would get me to work every day, and it did. I actually had to get it inspected on the Navy base. They required an inspection. She said, wow, I didn't think that thing would pass, but it did. And I've never been late again. And the thing is I know a lot of people are sitting here, yeah, I can tell you it's those next gens and those Z generations. They're the ones that are always causing problems. They don't show up to work, and then they get to work and they don't want to work. And I don't totally disagree with you. I actually know that those generations have a concept of what work's all about. I was a manager at my last job that I had, and I had an next gen there. And she was just, terrible. Absolutely terrible. She tried so hard to start dating a manager while she was there, so she didn't have to work. She wanted to date me. She wanted to date my boss. I think she ended up marrying my boss, but they both got fired after I quit. But boy, she didn't want to work. And then I had another one that worked there. I think I'm calling the wrong generation. Can't remember what the generation is, but regardless, it doesn't matter. She did all right. She worked pretty hard. So I don't think it was the entire generation. I think it's individuals. Because I can look at the baby boomers, and there's a lot of baby boomers that I can call out to say, hey, you know what? I would rather stay up all night drinking beer and then tell the boss, I can't make it in today. I got a headache and I'm sick and well, you drank all night. So it's not one generation. And the thing is my entire life, this is why I live here. This is why this is my dream, living here, is my entire life. I don't recall too many people keeping their promises. I'm pretty cynical of the world. A lot of people will come in my comment section, not everybody's bad, you just focus on the negative ones. No, I've been kind of messed over by nearly everyone I've ever met. It's just pretty routine for me. I don't know what it is. I guess I'm easy to walk on. Maybe I don't have this assertiveness that I'm going to stand my ground. I don't know what it is, but it seems like I've always been walked on. Or the other thing it could be is I'm so adamant that people must follow and obey certain rules, like keep a promise, that when I see somebody breaking a promise, I'm in my brain already shutting them down. I just don't want them in my life. So maybe that's what it is. But regardless, I've never seen anybody fulfill their contracts like they said they're going to do. Nobody. Older generations, younger generations, they just don't fulfill them. Which is what I kind of expected from Carolyn's son. Was he wasn't going to do what it took to move on. The whole idea of him coming here was to get him back on his feet, and that I would do whatever I could to help him. But in turn, he's going to have to do some things on his own to help himself. And I'm kind of one of these people, I'll help you and help you and help you as long as I see progress in you helping yourself. So the other day, he'd worked night shift and he was pretty exhausted. And the next day, the boss calls him and says, truck came in, I really need you to come in. And he never comes up to the house, to our house. He's always at the camper. If he needs something, he usually texts or calls. I mean, it's 25 feet up to the house, but he texts or calls because he doesn't want to bother us. But he came up to the house, knocked on the door and says, I got to go to work. So, I mean, he understands that if he wants to get off of this property, that I'm not going to hand it to him, Carolyn's not going to hand it to him, we're going to help him. I do wish that more people would have this attitude that I may not like the situation I'm in, but I'm going to work my hindsight off to get out of it. So, if you'll click this up next box, take that video, yesterday's video, where I was talking about what his goals are. So I hope I can inspire you, well, just to get debt free. It's not that hard. So you can live your dreams. Thanks for watching.